At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
Nice.
Welcome to our show. This is another exciting edition of Focus on Liberia's On Point. I have with me my able-bodied and right-hand man, my buddy, my co-host, Mr. George Tulay. As you all know, very brilliant, analytical, well-versed on issues pertaining to Liberia. He and I are very privileged to be hosting one very progressive young man from Liberia. He's an agriculturist, he's a businessman, he's a humanitarian. But we are trying to profile this young man because this is what young people are supposed to be doing. This is where we're supposed to be going. And this is the trend of the new world. And the young folks who are coming after us, we like to see them take initiative. Mr. Tulay, how are you doing? How's the family?
I'm doing excellent. It's good to be back. I've been away for a couple of weeks now. Celebrations on Sundays, anniversary, birthday, Father's Day. It's just been back to back to back. And I haven't had the time to really... And you know, in Canada here, we've been indoors for more than 1 year. So right now it's like when the coop is open for the chicken to get out, everyone wants to get out, get some sun because the sun will soon be going in 2 months. So everyone knows that. So everyone trying to get out and get some sun. So, but it's good being back. It's a privilege being here, like you said, and we thank God for the platform that we can speak to issues. We want to say welcome to Mr. Galakpai, and I know he has some nice things to say. Bro, if the whole internet thing is not going to do well, you can always call our studio on WhatsApp and then continue the conversation, even though we won't be seeing you because it's kind of like freezing over there with you. So don't worry about it. If it's not going to work for you to be on the show live, you can always call in and then we will still continue the conversation. I think that would be the best because this thing keeps freezing.
Mr. Galakpai, do you hear us?
It's frozen right now. The video is frozen. Maybe the audio is still going through. Okay. You can turn it off and then call the studio and then we will still have the conversation, with him in the background, calling through the studio.
Great. Mr. Tulay, just for a disclaimer, I was born and raised in Grand Bassa County. My political persuasion and everything else our roots started in Bassa. I know you also have your own upbringing, your family background. Where are you actually from?
Okay, I'm from Lofa County, right? My father was one of the prominent sons of Lofa County. My grandfather was one of the first indigenous members of the Supreme Court. My father was, like I said, one of the most prominent sons of Lofa County. But my mom is from Montserrat, Arlington to be precise. Mm-hmm. So I straddled the two spheres in the argument with the Congo native argument because my mom is purely, my biological mom, let me put it that way. My biological mom is purely African American. And my father is from Lofa County, from a town called Vizela in Vonjeman district. So the Tulay family is very big. We come from 3 districts in Lofa County. That's Foya, Kolahon, and in fact 4 because Bahon district also. So 4 districts in Lofa County. But we are from the from the Vonjeman district in.
Great. The reason I'm asking is sometimes people see you on the screen. They see me on the screen. They would just maybe want to know because when I was in Liberia, obviously you may have been very young, and we didn't have the time to interact. There are people here who may not know that the name Tulay is very prominent in Lofa County, and the contribution that the family have made to nation development and continue to make. And this is what I ask. And it was befitting for us to actually go into Lofa County to see what the young folks are doing, because that place have been categorized as the breadbasket of Liberia. Yeah. And then to go into the breadbasket and see young men and women, I'm talking about real young men in their 20s, taking on major agriculture initiatives. I think this is worth it. This is what I'm asking, where you from, so he could you can
before he comes in, let me give you some background. My father was an agriculturist, all right? He was an agronomist, actually. He was an agriculture economist.
Okay.
And his professional life started at the University of Liberia teaching, but he was the first operations manager of the National Bank. That was the preceding agency to the Central Bank of Liberia. But then he left from there and went and they established what they call the Lofa County Agriculture Development Project. And that project, the key aim of that project was to foster agriculture within the county. So that whole thing about the breadbasket, my old man played a central role in fostering not only cash crops and food crops, the whole agriculture, and not that also you feeder roads and anything done to enhance, promote, and encourage agriculture. It was a collaboration, a tripartite collaboration between the World Bank, USAID, and the Liberian government. And they opened another one in Bon County after they saw the success of what was in Lofa. They opened BCADP, and he ran that project before going to work for the central government. So my whole life, I grew up on the farms. When my eyes opened, when I started knowing what life was about, I was going on field trips with my old man. I knew everything about agriculture from a lay perspective because I was at the seed farms. I was at the farms. I only used to work on the 12 o'clock anyway as a kid. I always said once I ate lunch, that was it. No more working for me. I went to look for a river to go and swim. But I saw agriculture. So agriculture is, and you guys have spoken about this. When he comes in, we bring him in. You and I have spoken about this. The way for Liberia going forward is agriculture, because we have been a agrarian society from forever. We kind of like affected and broke our ability to feed ourselves with the rubber barons coming on with Firestone and all the different farms opening. Guthrie, Firestone, Sacré-Pied, how do you call it? Wahala. All these different rubber farms took away the young, virile men that were planting food crops. So as a result, we started having problems. That had Firestone started importing rice into Liberia. But before then, we fed ourselves. So we can still go back to feeding ourselves completely. I was so shocked during the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf government when something happened, and I think it was the Ebola, and then James Cuddy was the deputy minister of finance at the time, and he said that based on projections, we couldn't even feed ourselves for 1 week without imports. That thing shocked me. We couldn't feed ourselves for 1 week without imports. And that is a problem, and we have to go and look at. We are spending almost 150 million, maybe 200 million every year importing rice alone. Why can't we say we develop a scheme or policy or plan so that we can at least let $50 million of that money that is going to foreign hands rotate among our Liberian farmers who will grow rice locally? Why can't we develop the policy?
Well, and that will segue into what we are talking about here. Let me spell it. I know everybody wants us to, you and I, to just talk about politics. But when you joined us here a few months ago, one of the things that you talked about was, listen, we have to talk and do things more than just politics. George Weah, opposition, CPP, even though that's what the folks want to hear, they want you and I going at each other's throat, but you have always talked about substance, something of substance that will benefit our folks. and Focus on Liberia has always done that. That's why I dubbed them the national public radio of the Liberian scene, because they try to bring on educational issues, shows, things that we are talking about. So let's segue into that. Why I know our brother, Mr. Galakpai, is having issue with the internet problem in Liberia. So it is just good that you are actually well versed about the situation. So the itinerary here, or the agenda for today, is the young Liberians. Is now, I mean, there's a name attached to this, James Cully Galakpai, but it may not only be James Cully. This refers to everybody. I'm talking about yourself, me, every young person that can return to his soil to make good use of it. Is Mr. Galakpai, the likes of Mr. Galakpai, is that the future of Liberia? Then B on that is, what is his motivation? What should motivate young folks to do, to go back to the soil, to when you go to the University of Liberia, or your friends are demonstrating, they are looking at being deputy minister, president, vice president. Why should a Galakpai or the Tulay or the Gayman, what should be our motivation for going back to the soil? The part of that question that you and I will have to delve into is, what is the Ministry of Agriculture doing? Okay, what is the Ministry of Agriculture doing to encourage young folks to go into that endeavor, to go into that field? So we need to delve into that. We also want to know, the Liberian government is encouraging folks to go back to the soil. Is this only rhetorical, or are they putting money into it, like you say? Are they putting resources into it? What are the plans to bring young people, or you and I, back to the soil? So these are the questions that we are going to be answering. We are going to be talking to Mr. Galakpai. And since you are here and you are well versed and you're from the same area, we will be delving into this issue. Mr. Galakpai, welcome to our show.
It's frozen again.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, I will put his number here so we can call him and see. It is 0. His number is 715. I mean, he is such a progressive young man. I have been trying to get him here for years, and hopefully we can do it. Hopefully we can do it this time so we can call him. But Mr. Tulay, let's start with you, since you are more versed and you from the same area. You from the Zosa area, right?
No, I'm from Vonjama. He's
okay.
From his name, he's from the Zosa area.
Okay, so you from the Vonjama area. Okay, yeah. So let's talk about Mr. Galakpai, or the likes of Mr. Galakpai. Is this the future of Liberia? Can we guarantee, can we encourage young folks to go into it? What's in it for them? How can we guarantee them that there is success in feeding our folks or going to agriculture, as opposed to waiting to be minister to steal and get wealthy in instant wealth versus hard work?
One of the blessings that we have in Liberia is that we have abundance of rain and sun, and we have arable lands. We have a small population, and a lot of our land are lying fallow or with green foliage, and we're talking about a vast majority of our land, right, is untouched. You have logging companies going in from the Bapolu end, and few from the Lofa end. But most of our forests are untouched. Our people have been given to subsistence farming, so they shift cultivation every year. And the lands that they use, even though, I would say this, most of our land are not very good for mechanized farming. Let's just be honest about that, because our land are hilly, rocky, and it's difficult to be able to prepare the land for mechanized farming, large-scale mechanized farming. Most of our land are not good for that. We're talking about the lands in Lofa, Bong, and Bong, at least you can do some with Bong, because I remember Agremigo, they did the agriculture, the rice farm in Bong County in, I think it was Sanoye district. and you but Nimba and Lofa, the two hilly mountainous and too much rocks. So it's difficult to prepare the land, large scale acreage, to do mechanized farming where you will use tillers, and all of that, because you have the land, a lot of swamp, the breakup will be too much. But we still can succeed in farming. And like we say, farming is the way. I give you a common example. There are farms in Ghana and Ivory Coast that send pineapple, plantain, bananas abroad on a huge contractual basis. These farms will plant these crops and then harvest it, and they will send it to companies that buy from them. So they pay them to grow these crops, and they make a lot of money from it. So there are a lot of companies, supermarkets, and stuff buying pineapples. I'll give you another thing again. Where I go to buy bitter ball at times in Canada here, the bitter ball that come to Canada comes from Uganda. They import them from Uganda. Bitter ball, the big white bitter ball. They import them from Uganda. They come by flight to Canada. So what I'm saying is that there's so much out here. There's so much money that can go to Liberian farmers if they are incentivized, if they are encouraged, if the government can invest. But what has happened is that we don't have a policy that say, okay, we will look for money, we'll look for enterprise money and invest in our Liberian farmers so that they can plant. So young men like Galakpai can get the kind of assistance that they need, because it's necessary, it's needful. If you don't have it, he's not going. You see, what will happen is that Galakpai will work within his means. And if he cannot go outside his means to really improve and increase his yield, he will just be stuck in one cycle. But if he can get funding, and he can be able to use the funding, not only funding, but the technology too, all right? And he can do what he needs to do to increase his yield. He can be able to, but then it's not just looking at the local market, but how can we create, I'll give you another thing again, even when it comes to fish farming, there's a lot that we can do, because we have great waters and stuff. We could do a lot for fish in terms of fish farming. We could do a lot and growing with the tiger shrimp, the crawfish that we have in Liberia. That thing sells for $10 to $15 a kilo abroad. Okay? And we have them, we have the water, we have the brackish water, we have the land. The thing about it, we have a small population, so there are a lot of land all over the place, lying fallow, like Grand Cru, where's Anthony come from. They have that Picnicess area. You can open huge farms over there and use solar electricity to power your pumps. And you don't even have to go. Well, it's just money. It's just having a political will.
Okay, but Mr. Tulay, I know you spend maybe 90% of your life in Monrovia. You were well entrenched. You knew the terrain. You left Liberia just recently, compared to me. Mm-hmm. So when you were quite familiar with the UPP government, and now this government, every time I pick up the paper, and I want to make this clear, I'm a supporter of this administration, I'm a civilian, mm-hmm. But the fact that when you and I read the papers and we read the world economy, we have seen millions of dollars coming through Liberia through the Ministry of Agriculture. In fact, there are two ministries in Liberia that are very lucrative. Ministry of Agriculture and Ministry of Gender. Those two mm-hmm. ministries get most of the money from the international community. Mm-hmm. If that much money is coming through the Ministry of Agriculture, what's stopping people like Mr. Galakpai, yourself, me, from going out there and going beyond our limits? What's stopping the money from leaving Monrovia?
Policy. Implementation of policy. First, crafting of policy and implementation of policy. Okay, because if you really want to do it, it's not only Galakpai. The thing is, like I mentioned here to you several times ago, several weeks ago, I said we don't have a policy that even restrict the cultivation of cash crops on our arable lands. So as a result, gradually, we are losing farming lands to cash crops. Now, cash crops are volatile products. They are volatile commodities, right? If the market is not good internationally, you can get anything coming to the farmers, and it hogs the land. Okay, but I can tell you something. I don't care, pandemic, no pandemic. During the pandemic, a lot of factories closed, even in Canada here. During the pandemic, the ordering of these raw materials from other countries by Chinese factories went down. So, but guess what? People will never stop eating. I don't care what happens. You have food, people want the food. People will find that people must eat. So the way forward is not cash crops. The way forward is food production, food crop production. That is the way forward. So the reason why you see, let me say this to you. There is a pretense wherein people have to do things to keep things flowing, to create the appearance of normalcy, to create the appearance of growth and everything, to be able to manage the status quo. And sometimes that's what we see in government. We see this people trying to keep things going, just trying to balance it, and not really moving things to the next level. Okay, so that's one of the things that's happening in Liberia. If you don't craft policy and you don't go find funding and you don't say, okay, let's create an agri bank. We have the Agricultural Cooperative Development Bank. Why can't we recapitalize that bank, reopen it, okay, and then send it out there to work with farmers? Then also we can cooperate, we can collectivize our farmers by insisting that they create cooperatives, they work within frameworks or cooperatives, so that we can give the money to the cooperatives and the cooperative give the money and the implements to the farmers also. These are the things that we need to do. All right, the agriculture ministry is not reaching out. The agriculture ministry is not working in the interest of the farmers. Let me be honest with you. It started under Madam Seli. Let me tell you something I saw under Madam Seli. They had an agriculture fair under Madam Seli in Lofa County. I tell you this. Those people were brave, Mr. Gayman. They were brave to go into Guinea to buy agricultural produce to come and display at the fair in Lofa. They were brave to do that. They went to Guinea. They bought produce. They bought cassava things, because you know the Guinean,
right, obviously.
Yeah, they're growing the latest kind of crops and stuff, and their crops are producing great yields. They were brave to go to Guinea to buy agricultural things under Manasari to come and display in Liberia, in Lofa. Okay, just to fool the West that they are helping farmers, and these are the yields that the farmers are producing. It's all a lie, and that lie have not changed. The same people out of the ministry, only the taps have been changed. The same people at the Ministry of Agriculture, they have not done anything to support men like James. Nothing. They don't have a policy out there. They're not. You see what they're supposed to do? They're supposed to play the middleman. They're supposed to be able to go to the African Development Bank, go to the World Bank, go to any agency that has money for farmers, and give it to the farmers and say, this is what you need to do. All right, and we are not doing it.
Not to cut you, Mr. Galakpai, can you hear us now?
Yes, I can hear you. Sorry for the delay, and also it's because of the internet system.
Yes, we are quite familiar. Our audience is here. We've been trying to get you on for a couple of months now. Introduce yourself, who you are, how old you are, and what is it you are doing. What is your goal?
Okay, thank you very much. And also let me firstly say good evening and good afternoon and good morning to all those who are listening to this broadcast. By the way of introduction, I am James Kwali Galakpai from Lofa County. I was born and raised in Lofa, to be Pacific Zulu Southern District. And Galakpai Kwali was born in Zulu, and my father got killed during the war in 1990 war in Zulu. While we were escaping to Guinea, my father was arrested. They were like 50 men and 4 in-house, and they blazed them on fire, gassed them, and burned them alive. So we were in Guinea throughout 1990 war. So I came back to Liberia in 2005, and I began my primary education right in Zulu Guze Public School. Later on, I transferred myself to Tulay Central High, and I spent 2 years in Tulay Central High. Later on, I went to Swago Central High, that is Bon County, Swago Central High in Bon County. Spent 1 year in Swago Central High. Came back to Monrovia, where I was living with Benda Urate, and I spent 1 year with him, and I attended Needle in Gibson. But when I felt that thing was now okay, that I have to leave, and then start to attend God's Glory Free Pentecostal Mission School, and there where I graduated from my high school. So Galakpai College was born February 14, 1988 in Zulu, Nwewunta. And now Galakpai College is the founder and CEO of Liberian Free Yourself Agriculture Initiative, based in Lofa County, Nwewunta, in his hometown.
Excellent, excellent. Well, on your left there is your countryman. He's from Lofa. He's from the Vanjama area. He's going to introduce himself. His last name is Tulay. Mr. Tulay, go ahead, introduce yourself to your countryman here. I love this reunion.
Look at you. Yeah, Galakpai. I told him, I said you were from Zozo district, from the name, and it's nice meeting you, you know, and he's been talking about you for a while. Every time he will talk about you, one of his desire has been to bring you on so that we can showcase you, so that people will see who you are, and then they will have an idea of what you do. Because it's very important that people like you who are doing things, and I guess you learn some things when you live with Ben and about agriculture and all of that, and people who are going against the grain, not just sitting down on their haunches and waiting for government to bring it to them or government to do it for them. And these are the things that will move the needle in terms of development. And I just want to say, you know, myself, I'm from Lofa County. My father, you were too small, you know, 88. Okay. Yeah, you know, my father ran LCADP. They even had an office in Zozo town. And so I know Zuluwo. I've been to Zuluwo. I've been to most of the big towns in Zozo district, most of the big major towns in Lofa County. I went there, right? So it's nice meeting you.
Yeah, Mr.
Thank you very much.
Before you go, let me show some of your pictures, some of the photos from your place, and explain to us before going to the question, okay? Can our folks, okay, this is one of your pictures. What is this? Where are you now?
Okay, this particular photo was last year from the rest fund I made last year. There where I took this photo from 25 acres of land that I planted rest on. So there was I took that photo when the rest was getting ready for harvest.
Beautiful. And the next one?
Yeah, that was during, like I said, when the rest were getting ready for harvest. That was a time when my women went on the farm to harvest the rest. So I was also part of them, also to compile the rest, start it together like in a bundle in that way. And after then, I had to pack the rest and to remove everything from the farm for us to haul it to the kitchen. So there were during the harvesting time, there where I took that photo. And there was the time that I was holding the rest from the farm to come to the kitchen. I think when you look on the left, on the left-hand side, you will see the kitchen. Okay, yeah. So I was holding the rest there for the rest to be there for like about 2 weeks, 3 weeks before we can put the rest into the kitchen. So that's what the time that I took that photo. It was my nephew who wanna. Okay, this is the rest that I produced last year. I produced some of this rest last year. Just last year, rest you are seeing in the photo, and the kitchen you are looking at the back there is a place that we save the rest. That is a storehouse for the rest. Okay, this is the photo that you are. Yeah, the next photo that you just shown here is this year farm that I made. So I was there some part of June for us to clear the farm, because sometimes when we brush the farm, after brushing the farm, we cut down the tree. That is why felling the tree. From there we burn the farm. And when we burn the farm, sometimes not out of a deck will burn from the farm. So when the out of a deck refuse to burn from the farm, you have to go back again. The manpower had to go back again and clean the farm and make the place ready for planting of the rest. So there was, I took that photo when we were cleaning the farm. So my nephew was able to do that photo for me. unknown to myself. So when I look at it, I say, wow, it was wonderful.
Yeah. And the next one?
And the next photo, like I said, doing that after cleaning the farm, we prepared a place for the women to come and plan the rest. So those are the women I'm working with. And those are the women that are working with me on the farm. Those are the Liberian Fields Agriculture Initiative women. So they came to plan the rest after the men have concluded the cleaning of the farm. So they came now the next now to plan the rest. Yeah, that's some of my farm oil. So what I brought into Monrovia, because I have some customer friends in the USA who always follow me on the social media, and they were able to order those oil from me to bring them in Monrovia and distribute them to their families in Monrovia. Like today, I even distribute some for some people to GSA Road, some people to Broadview. That's how I know that I was able to bring that particular oil in Monrovia to give to customer, to get a friend who have ordered them for their family in Monrovia. Okay, this is my cocoa. This is the cocoa that I planted. This particular cocoa is the Ivorian cocoa. Is only lasts for 3 years period. So when you plant it within the period of 3 years, you start to harvest the cocoa from the farm. So this I purposely when we were harvesting the cocoa, there where I took the particular photo from, so that people will get to know how the cocoa from Africa is looking like. So that was the cocoa from my farm during last year rainy season. So I took that cocoa after when we were doing the harvesting of the cocoa.
You can see these are the women of Liberian Fields Agriculture Initiative, LAFA. Today they have come on my farm to plant the rice. This is how we plant the rice in Lofa County. I think you can see for yourself. So this is what we are doing. So we are calling on every Liberians to go back to the soil. So we have to grow what we can eat. Normally this is rice that we are.
Will be there to broadcast the rest. When they broadcast the rest, then the women will be there, to plan to indeed plan the rest. So that's how normally we do our planting of rest in Lofa County. Yes, those are the women I am working with.
Excellent, excellent. Now tell me your workforce. How many men, how many women do you have? As a young man, everybody wants to work for government. You are employing people. How many people do you have in your employ? How many men, how many women?
Okay, currently I work with 50 women for now. I work with 50 women and also work with 50 men.
So you got 100.
So that is 100 person I'm working with. And these people I took them from different towns and villages. Like I took 10 person from Wemuta. From my hometown, I was able to take 10 person from Wemuta. I was able to take 15 person from Zoro, that is 25 person. So I was able to take another 15 person for my uncle town, because when it comes to tradition, Loma and Pele, we are one family. So parents people, they are our uncle. So that I was able also, because we share common border with them. They fall in Salary district and I fall in Zozo district. So that I was able to take another 15 person for them. So almost 40. So another village there they call Dokogizia. I was able to take 5 person for Dokogizia, and another village they call Kudugizu, between Wemuta and Zoro and Wemuta and Fasawala Zoo. So Potogi is located between Wemuta and Fasara. So I was able to take another 5 person from them. So to make everybody to feel the impact of the initiative, because it's all about them.
Excellent. Tulay, I'm really impressed with what this young man is doing. Jump in here if you have any question, because I know you are very familiar with the territory. I think you are muted.
Sorry, it's just an observation I wanted to give. The reality here is how people are in the hinterland, and they want to get involved. They want to have economic activities going on in their individual lives. Liberians are not lazy. This notion that Liberians are lazy is not true. What happened is the war caused people to have this desire to receive something free, because they've been receiving things free for a very long time. For a good chunk of some people's lives, they receive free food, free oil, free this. So that doesn't mean that it can't work. All right. So what Galakpai is doing, he said he went to these various villages and towns and sold the idea. So what he has is a cooperative. Is a cooperative. People coming together to work together in their own interest. And the difference here is, if Galakpai alone decided to do farming, he will be very limited in how much he can do, because how much work can one person do? But if you bring together 50 persons or 100 persons and say, listen, what we're going to do is for all of us. So maybe we plant 10 hectares or maybe 100 hectares. And then we do mass production and we do mass harvest. We sell it, then we divide the proceeds. It sounds reasonable. So the only thing I wanted to say is that it is possible. Galakpai is an inspiration. What they are doing is an inspiration. It's not new. It's something that's been going on for a long time. You see, and okay, let me ask you, Galakpai, regarding funding. Where do you get the funding from? That, like the seedings, from the rice seeds, for instance. And you also mentioned, why you answering that, you also mentioned you planted Ivorian cocoa. How did you get the Ivorian cocoa? And when you answer, I will make a comment.
Okay, thank you very much. You asked how I got the rice seeding. In
the money
to
do all the things. Yeah.
Yes, the money. Okay. You talk about the money aspect. For me, I believe in business. Like I said to you, when my father got killed in 1990 by the rebel in Zorowo, and when he was buried alive, when we migrated in Guinea, I live with different people. Okay. That's why today I can speak both and Loma by tribe, but I speak Pele and both Loma. So when I went to Guinea, I was living with different people. I was not living with my mother. So I was staying with different people. So for that people who I was living with, they were business-minded people. So from there, I began to learn about business. So when I look at it, I told my mother in 2005 that I had to go back home. I had to go back to Liberia. The French people used to say, Liberians, we eat human being in Liberia. So when you say I want to go back home, people say no, Liberia is not safe for people to go. I told them no, I'm a Liberian, I have to go back to Liberia. So when I came back to Liberia, I began to put myself into business. You understand? Those same business I was doing in Guinea, I begin to put myself in those same businesses, begin to sell channel light, begin to sell days. That is movie. So I started to sell days and other stuff to send myself to school. And from there, I look at myself and say, no, I think I have to do something, because before my father could die, my father was having a cane farm. Sugar cane farm. He used to produce cane juice in Liberia. So when I look, I said, no, like myself, let me planting. But I started with planting. So when I plant the planting, I used to go and ask people, I said, please help me with planting son. I want to plant planting on my farm. So when they gave me the planting son, I begin to plant them. So when I plant the planting, I begin to So he started to get into susu.
Yes.
So I got into susu. From there now, when I got into the susu, from that planting money, so when I start to create another idea of making this a lifetime dream. You understand? That's how I begin to agriculture initiative. So from that business,
real quick,
planting business, business, and it movie.
Okay, Mr. Galakpai, real quick.
From the planting business, I was cutting and then selling them. Yeah.
Okay. Now let's look at have you? I know everybody's seeing you. Have you approached our Ministry of Agriculture for help? Do they know you?
Yes,
have you gone?
Yes, I want. Yes, I want to come there. Let me answer but question.
Right. Too late.
From there now, Mr. Tulay. So what from there now, what I started to do, and I started to sell movie. That movie money, I started to save money with UBA Bank. I started to save money with UBA Bank. So from there, I started to buy seed, red seed for my people in Wahala. So when I bought a red seed, 2014, I made the first farm. I planted those red seed. And the following years, I was not able to buy red seed. So I was having my own red seed. So I started to plant those red seed. So that's how I begin to get money. And I got money through business because I do business. Now currently I have like this, you see this radio, the Bluetooth. These are businesses. These are businesses that I'm doing. I sell Bluetooth, I sell power bank, and I sell battery and other stuff. So now when I go in the interior, I see some food store that my people have there, and they have some material in Monrovia they want. So that I buy it in Monrovia, I carry it there, we exchange it with what they have there. So when we exchange it, then I bring it into Monrovia and sell them to enable me to run my project. So that's how I get my money to run the project. So when you ask the question how I get money, it's through my little business that I'm doing. That's how I'm running my project. So when you ask a question again about whether minister I have been able to meet Minister of Agriculture.
Before you go to the ministry, the seeds for the Ivorian cocoa.
Yeah. How
did you get the seed for the Ivorian cocoa?
Okay. I have one of my auntie. I have one of my auntie called Kanneh. She go to Africa many of times. So what I did, I told her that I want a cocoa seed. So that's how she was able to help me when she went to Africa. She was able to help him with a small bag of cocoa seeding. So when she brought it, I put it on nursery and I begin to plant it. So as the years passed by, when the cocoa produced, I used some of that same cocoa to plant them also to expand the cocoa farm. That's how I got the cocoa. But where the cocoa seed, I did not bought the cocoa seed from anyone. It was someone that I talked with, and then they were able to help in the process.
Okay, so let's go to the question that Jerome asked. Mr. Gayman said, have you reached out to the Ministry of Agriculture for any assistance?
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much. Not only Ministry of Agriculture, I answered that question. Yes, I have been to Ministry of Agriculture for several times. I met Honorable Eric Clark. I met him, the Assistant Minister for Administration. I met him, and he and I talked, and he even told me that I should write formal letter to his office, and also address some to the minister proper, that is Ministry Cooper. And I did. I gave him 60 copy of the letter, and he himself took me and came into the minister proper office. We went to her office. I delivered the letter there, and later on I was able to go back to do a follow-up. So when I went, Mr. Honorable Clark told me that he will help me to push so that I will be able to get help from the ministry. But then since then, I have not been able to get any contribution or donation from the Ministry of Agriculture. Yeah, since last year or to present, I have not got any information from them or anything. And also, I was able to meet Alvin Wisse, the Assistant Minister for Research. I was able to meet him one-on-one. He and I also talk. So I had been to that ministry on numerous occasions. And I was also able to write various others ministers and other representatives and leaders officials of government within this country.
Let me ask you one specific question. Have you met your representative from Zosa, the person responsible for Zosa district? Yeah, that is Honorable. No, I have not been able to meet with Honorable Howard, Honorable Bian D. Howard. I have not been able to meet him. He's a very good man. He's a good man. So I think you should make some representation to him He's a good man, and I will try and reach out to him myself. He's a good man. He's a good man. I can promise you.
Sometimes the protocol sometimes those guys are dealing with is kind of a little bit difficult to make people like us to meet them in person. So one of the leaders I was opportune to meet him. I was opportune to meet Honorable Sir H. Joseph. I met him. I delivered one letter to him. He and I discussed with him my dreams and what I'm involved with. Most of the time I work, sometimes I share my work with him also on the social media as well. I met him and he told me that he will see how best he will support. And I was also able to meet the assistant minister, Minister Pointer Sisi Weir as well. I wrote him one communication for assistant, and she also told me that she working in that direction of making her own donation. So I also wrote internal affair for Sisi Weir. So I also wrote managing director Keturah Smith. She's a managing director for Liberian Medicine and Health Product Regulatory Authority. They're responsible to regulate every medical products that enter into Liberia. I'm also able to write her. So I have been kind of trying to meet her, but it has been difficult for me to see her one-on-one so that she and myself can talk. So I got the mayor also, the mayor of Monrovia as well.
James, this is the problem. This is the problem, Mr. Gayman. Someone like James should not be writing to individuals for assistance. Someone like James should not be writing to individuals for assistance.
No.
We should have a system that captures a person like James and highlights him and focus on replicating his effort in other areas, creating entrepreneurs, because it's not just about farming. Like he said, he described how he uses his entrepreneurship to create cash to be able to sponsor all his farming activities. The government, because this is how we'll create economic independence in Liberia. This is how we'll create cash flow amongst Liberians. I'll tell you something. How many person in Liberia working, maybe you're working at a bank, you're making $600 or maybe $700 a month. How long can that money go? Let's be honest. How far can that money go? But if we created a means where Liberians like James and other young men who have the desire, who are going and spending their money but planting cash crop, planting palm oil and rubber, instead of farming food products, because that's where the money really is. I tell no lie. Food products have money. They have money because you can plant them in season, and you will still. And then there are techniques. Even during the dry season, you can maximize irrigation, and still continue planting. You don't have to wait because no rain, only the sun. No, you can still go ahead and use irrigation methods and still create food crops.
Okay.
Before you come in, my point is this. The government needs to wake up, and the government needs to be able to highlight people like James and assist them and come to their assistance and create, like being Howard, for instance, the man from his district supposed to say, okay, you know what, I'm going to go to the committee that is responsible for agriculture, and I will work with them to make sure that we get funding for not only you, but for other young men who are doing the same thing. Like I said to you, Mr. Gayman, we import maybe $150 million worth of rice every year into Liberia. He got 25 acres of rice. How can we double his production? And how can we go to other places also and find other people who are also planting rice and help them, so that, let's say, in 5-10 years, we can start buying at least $75 million worth of rice, half of what we use every year, to be grown locally. That is putting $75 million in the hands of ordinary Liberians.
That's correct. Mr. Galakpai, let's look at your logo. Tell me what your logo says here. Can we put it up?
Yes. When you look at the writing in the white, the Liberian Feed Yourself Agriculture Initiative.
Right.
And the honor part, that is what the motto of my institution said, invest in the soil, to build Liberian economies.
Okay.
Yeah. So what the reason where this name came about as revelation. You understand? Because I'm a Christian, I prayed about it and I said to God, gave me a name that will best suit my work. And that's how, that name begin to ring in my ear. And I begin to ask people. I wrote it down, and I begin to ask people, and people look at it and say, yes, it was something good. So I look at it that in Liberia, we are always in the habit of accepting buying imported food. Like look at Guinea pepper. Importing local commodity, even rice from various countries to Liberia. I look at it as a shame on our part as oldest African nation. Since 1847, until present, we should still be accepting imported food. I said, no, I think we have the soil, we have the manpower, we have the capacity. What we are only lacking on is what the financial strength. But I think those foods that we are importing, we ourselves able to produce them right in our country. And when we are producing this food in our own country, it will help to reduce the burden on government. And when you look at our country history, for rice business, we Liberians was able to go against our own president. At the end, what we did, we were able to kill our own president. Because when I say we, Liberian as a whole, because you don't play with Liberian men food. You understand? So I look at it and say, no, this thing will be kind of a shame. And I look at it also the economic aspect point of view as well. I said, but I'm looking at America. What made America great, China great today, India great today is through the soil. And we have our soil. Our soil is very rich. When you plant crops in Liberia without even using fertilizer on them. Those reds that you saw me in, I planted those reds without using fertilizer. So I look at it, our soil is very much rich. You understand? That we are able to plant or produce what we can eat in our country. And through those produce that we are producing, we're able to help our citizens in the country to reduce when it comes to the job in government. We can also encourage other people so that we all can come together with our ideas to see how best to be self-reliance and also be waiting to produce our own food. So those are that you see me look at those things. So when you will see the rest there, you will see the qualities and other hook are there, because for all we are using traditional farming here. Those are small equipment that we are using because we don't have a bigger equipment. So when you see those smaller equipment are in those photos, that's some of the reason. And you see the goat in there also, the animal aspect. That's also my dream before the year end. I should also invest into that animal crops as well. So that's the meaning of my local. Yes, that Liberians should be able to produce what they can eat. Let's all feed ourselves and stop accepting imported food. Our rice is organic food, our organic rice. So our organic rice have more protein in it than no imported food, no plastic food. I'm totally against the importation of local commodity in Liberia.
Thank you very much, Mr. Colley. You are an inspiration to us. We got to let you go at this point. There are two things that I want to promise you. Mr. Tulay and I, we work behind the scene. We do a lot of stuff. Just like he said, we're going to be working with you to make sure that you meet those people. You are not supposed to be asking people for individual contribution. We are talking about if the money is available at the ministry, we should encourage the minister to actually see to it that you get some of that and use you as an example that they can replicate what you are doing in Bassa, in Maryland, everywhere else. One of the things that we are going to stress after you leave is the fact that you are making money by us who are here. Instead of sending back a rice from here to Liberia in container, We can buy the rice directly from you, and you can deliver it to my family in Basel, Monrovia. The oil, gallon of oil, 5 gallons of oil, we can buy it from you, and you can deliver it. That is another way that we can support you without going through anything else. And secondly, this is such a great initiative for a young Liberian born 1988. It's unbelievable. So we have to make sure that we make those calls and do the things that we can do. After we leave from here, we'll contact you online so we can begin to kind of coordinate and see how we can help. But it was nice seeing you. Thank you very much for coming. This show is going to be repeated. It's going to be on YouTube, and you can send it to all your buddies, all your friends, all your supporters. We're going to do the same thing so we can collectively help.
I beg, before I leave, I have a recommendation that I wanted to have presented to the president when he came to Lofa County, but I was not opportune to do so. So
okay, go ahead.
I want you to give minutes for me to just do those recommendations, even though you name some of them. You know, what the job we are doing, we are doing it to help our country, to help the developments of our country. We are appealing to international partners, donors, and well-meaning Liberians in the diaspora, in Africa, everywhere Liberians are. We are appealing to them to help support us. This initiative is all Liberian initiative. If the agriculture sector improve, everyone will benefit a lot. So we want them to help us to buy our produce. That's number one recommendation. If you can give out a loan, help me buy my produce for me, because we are challenged with road connectivity. I don't have my own transportation. That's number two challenge, transportation. You understand? But if you can buy my produce for me, it will enable me to enlarge and employ more men and women also on my farm. And from there, we are appealing to the government to pave our road in Lofa County to have easy access to road connectivity. If the government can do that for us, we the local farmers, we will help the government. Today, you see our brother in the street. Today, they call them Zogo. They are not Zogo. They are not Zogo. So we are appealing to them to help us. When they help us, we will help them to minimize crime rates also in Liberia. Because those brothers will encourage them come. We start to work together, work on the farm. From there, they will be able to desist from those armed robbing, going, attacking peaceful citizens, because they will be able to earn, if the man can even earn like $100 in a month or in a week time, he will not be able to do those things. So, and also we are appealing to them to help him buy me a rice mill. I don't have my own rice mill. I don't have my own rice mill. So that when I produce my rice, I carry my rice to another person. They mill the rice. When they mill the rice, they take theirs, and I take mine. That's how we do it. That is take and give and take. So they mill my rice, I gave them, and I take mine. So I appeal to whoever that listening that have the strength, let them help me in that direction to buy me a rice mill, to buy me a farm equipment. Let them buy me equipment that will be able to help me to run my project. I myself are helping the country at large. I'm helping the country in that direction. And also I appeal to every Liberian in the diaspora. Please let us invest in our own soil in Liberia. Liberia belongs to everyone. We should not look at political leaders. We should not look at George Weah. We should not look at Alexander Kumi. We should not look at Bernard Ure. We should not look at Joseph Boakai. You understand? Let's look at our country. If Liberia can develop, you'll be proud indeed to say, I'm from Liberia. But if even you live your life in America, Liberia is backward, it will still affect you as Liberians in America by paper. You are only American by paper. You are not American by birth. So I'm appealing to every one of you to come back to Liberia. Let us help to develop our country. Liberia can only be developed by you and myself. You and myself can develop the country. Foreigner will not develop the country.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Galakpai, thank you very much. We have run out of time, but you got your point across. One of the things that I would like to kind of venture in our talk with Mr. Tulay, I really like the meal, the rice meal kind of thing. I think those are durable. So let's talk after the show. Let's stay online. And God bless you. Say hi to your wife and his children. We'll be talking a little more, okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and thank you for all those that are following the show. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We will share your message. God bless. Mr. Tulay, we are running out of time here. One of the things I want to say before we get into our last topic real quick is that I want to show you and I want to let you know, I know today may be your last day with me because family connected, the family engagement, your wife, your children.
No, today's not my last day. Don't worry about that. Today is not my last day. It's all right.
Okay. So because what we're trying to do here is to present two sides of everything we are doing, and you have been very, very well versed in those areas. So let's go at current event that has happened in Liberia. We got 15 minutes here. Let's look at one of the things that I like, and we'll go down to that, is the this gone weekend, the youth wing of the CDC, the youth wing, they were able to, they did a press release, a press conference, whatever that is, chastising their own. They were talking about a young man by the name of Porter that bought a car for his wife, and it's a great thing that he did. Bought a car for his wife. His wife supported him when he was nobody, and she deserved the car. But for some of the optic, why buy a car for your wife, put it on social media, then take a bottle of champagne, wash the car with it, even if that car, if it was just water in there. To me, that was ugly. I don't care how you look at it. The optic is just terrible. Then let's talk briefly about Dillon and his trip. Why is Front Page Africa going after Dillon the way they are? I listened to Mr. Radley C.A., and he was very adamant about his disgust, his disappointment. Why are they doing this? Does he have a point? Why would Dillon do this when he knew very well, or maybe he didn't know, that there are capabilities available to find out and dig deeper to catch you in a trap? So I will let you address those two issues so we can close on here and go.
Now, I don't know about the Porter issue. He blocked me on Facebook. I don't have time for people like that. You know.
Okay.
The CDC people Wahala is their Wahala. The young people will learn. They will realize that what they see is just a mirage. Those people only care about themselves. They don't really care about the foot soldiers, as it were. It's been like that from day one. It happened with the Unity Party. They take a select few, elevate, and the rest of the people, they leave them to languish in penury. It's nothing new. That's Liberia. When a political party wins election, for the duration of their tenure, they rule the country. They don't rule the political party. So we need to go past that place. And specifically when it comes to the Dillon issue, for me, it's a non-issue. It's a non-issue in the sense that Dillon said he didn't ride first class. He didn't say I didn't ride business class. He said I didn't ride first class. Whatever the argument is, I don't want to elevate it. I saw the elevation. For me, it's a distraction in the sense that catching a politician in a lie. What is the lie about? He didn't steal money. He did not. The government did not buy. It's not. You see, the reason why I say it's a non-issue for me. If it was government, if the government office at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs or the Ministry of Finance funding his trip, and he was supposed to ride business class, economic class, and he took government money and bought business class ticket, then it's a different thing altogether. This is a private trip, and I think he was wrong for even trying to answer to justify where he took the picture from. For me, it's a non-issue. The issue is not germane to where we are right now, to the issue of governmental malfeasance and the corruption that is being seen. The reason why Porter would buy his wife a very expensive car to wash it, why people be angry, is because but the truth is Porter earns, I think he's an assistant minister, so he's earning around $3,000 a month. I don't know how much money extra comes through his office that he can be able to pilfer, but I know fully well that he earns the pay of an assistant minister. And if he were able to save the money to buy an expensive car for his wife, then fine. But like I said, I want to stick to issues that are very germane. Dillon, for me, Dillon shouldn't have even responded. You know, you gotta come to a place where you don't respond to certain things. When people put some things on, you don't respond. Because if you will respond, then you gotta make sure that you come forward with the best explanation possible. If you respond, you gotta make sure that you communicate what is the facts regarding the case. So Dillon did not make clear that I wrote in first class, I wrote in business class. Where you saw me, maybe I left my seat to come and talk to some friends, but that was the class that I had bought the ticket for, or I had upgraded my ticket to. It's nothing. It's not.
Mr. Tulay, but the point is not about first class or business class. The Front Page Africa Rodney Sears issue is it's a lie. Because we're not talking about West Class Hero. We are talking about deliberately lying. When a man would, let's say, Mr. Tulay, you and I respect you. You are a man of integrity. You family man. You and I have a lot in common. So yes, I can hang out with you. If someone asks you and said, Mr. Tulay, did you ride first class, second class, business class, as you insinuated on your page, showing off that you are living large? Did you do this? Then you turn around and tell that the newspaper, in fact, he called them dumb. He said Front Page Africa wrote a story that is dumb. So Rodney's here turn around and say, okay, since we are liars and we are dumb, we will see through this that this had a logical conclusion. And the logical conclusion was, let's follow, like we say in America, follow the money. They followed the trail, found out that he did present to the newspaper, to Front Page Africa, an itinerary from Monrovia to JFK that says economy, wherein as he had an actual itinerary that were purchased, that were upgraded in Ghana. Okay, so here we are. It's the deception. It's the lie. Not only that, Rodney's here a liar and dumb.
I think Dillon is, he was upset because Rodney's here didn't have more important things to be bothered with.
No, Mr.
Hold on,
Mr. Tulay.
Let me talk. They have more important things to be bothered with than Dillon. Because like I said, look at the issue here. Look at the issue. The man used his own money. If he took his itinerary, if he planned his trip at economy, flew from Liberia to Ghana economy, and then had an opportunity, you can go confirm a ticket and say, even though, because right now people are not flying, right? A lot of people are not flying. So you get to the office, the ticket, the agency or the airline to confirm your ticket, and they say, okay, Mr. XYZ, know who you are, or whatever. We have an upgrade here, and it will cost you XYZ, and you do it. Where he went wrong is if you buy your ticket, whose business is it? That's my point. Because he's not using government funds. George Weah, for instance, went to France.
We are not talking about George Weah. We are talking about Dillon. We're not talking about George Weah. This is about Harold Dillon.
You will not do that to me. You will let me go wherever I want to go with this situation, Mr. Gayman. Because you're raising the issue of integrity here. And the point here is this. He didn't use government money. That's my point. So he had no business to give excuses or to even lie. No, there is no need to lie. I believe in transparency. So I went with the George Weah thing. George Weah took a crew of Liberians to a gender-based conference in Paris, France.
Mr. Tulay.
Hold on. Most of the attendees, or most of those who were slated to attend that conference, selected to attend the conference virtually. They did not go to France. This guy chartered an entire airplane, pay hotel bills, took people to a conference.
Mr. Tulay.
To go do what in France?
Mr. Tulay.
No.
Mr. Tulay. 1 minute.
I'll give you a chance to talk.
No. 1 minute. One minute. Let's go to our advertisement here. We got one ad we want to run. Go ahead. Let's run our ad real quick. We'll be back so we can do your closing statement. We're going over a little 30 minutes. Go ahead. Okay, as you can see, this is prime time. This is going to be awesome. Awesome. Look who you have here. We have the godfather that started it all, the intellectual giant, Dr. Tipote. Most people have been asking, where has he been? What is he doing? He's going to be on here. Dr. Tipote, I mean, you guys need to tune in because he's going to be on here. I mean, Mr. Jai himself going to be on here. And this is going to be cool. This is huge. This is huge. It is 6 p.m. today, from what I'm understanding. And I can't wait to get out of here to get my glass of juice, to sit back and actually hear an intellectual, the godfather of what we're talking about, change. We're talking about moving Liberia from, you name it, he's coming here. That's 6 o'clock today. Tipote himself is going to be here. I wish Marcus Matthew was still around so they can go toe to toe, side by side, mano a mano. But may his soul rest in peace. We had a godfather here, this coming in about 30 minutes or so. And we want you to tune in. We want you to share the video. Let everybody know that it is going to be a history lesson in activism, in radicalism, in intellectual power. You name it. This is going to be a tutorial, and I'm going to be here and have all your questions in advance. Don't wait until he gets here. Write them down. Start posting them so he will be reading them as we want, and he can take all the time he wants. Mr. Tulay, I just want to put that out there, and I go ahead and conclude your statement.
It will be a great thing learning, listening to Dr. Tipote. He's a very enlightening elder statesman. But I was going somewhere, and I said Dillon was wrong for offering an explanation that wasn't totally honest. He shouldn't have done it. My point is there is no need to even go. I love how I think things through. I don't have to respond. It's not every criticism you respond to, especially coming from when we look at. For me, when I look at who is originating the criticism, and I look at who you support. And then I just bastardize your whole criticism because I see it's hypocrisy. It's been disingenuous because you support somebody who is steeping in malfeasance.
So are you saying Radiccia is supporting malfeasance in Liberia?
No. Dillon did not first respond. You want to look at Radiccia issue. Dillon did not first respond to Radiccia. Dillon's first response was on Facebook. United High Court Seditions criticized Dillon. That's where the thing came from. The first people to bring this thing up was
the first real criticism came from Leonard Dudu, and it is that article that he replied to before Radiccia came in.
No, before they even Sonny, they came before Sonny. The photo was criticized on Facebook. I should have captured that particular thing. I should have saved it. But like I say, for me. Why must I save an irrelevant, non-essential exchange about somebody? The thing is this, is that Dillon is learning. Let me say that before you come in. Dillon has the ability. I mean, he should exhibit the ability to learn. You should learn that if you want to be a crusader, you cannot be the ordinary Liberian politician. If you want to be a crusader, you cannot be economical with the truth. When you want to be a crusader, you cannot cut corners. There can be no shortcuts. Now, when you were in when you were a civilian or outside of government, if you criticize the government for riding first class or business class from Liberia to China, when you have every right to do so, because guess what? They use government money to buy the ticket to fly from Liberia to China, so you have the right to criticize them. If you use your own money, it is your right. That's the difference. So we're putting round pegs in square holes here. You cannot criticize a man for using his own money to buy his own ticket to fly. If it's the government buying his ticket, it should be economy because we are broke. But if the man takes his own money or his supporters in America helping to buy a ticket for him to go to them so that they can do certain programs, the man is at liberty to do what he wants to do. That's my point.
Okay, Mr. Tulay, we're going over time. Let's do your closing statement real quick so we can get ready for Dr.
Timothy. My closing statement to this is here. First, looking at James Galakpai. Yes. There are many James Galakpais in Liberia. Many. Some people are only focusing on cash crops. Some people are on cash crops and whatever, and food crop production. What I wanted to say is that Ivory Coast have been doing agriculture for a very long time. They have some of the best producing plants in terms of cocoa, coffee, banana, plantain, even the tilapia and the catfish and all of these things. We can go to Ivory Coast as a nation, not as just individuals, and talk to the Ivorians and see how we can be able to get from them some of the best hybrids, the best plants, the best plant species to come and plant in Liberia. The government can ask Ivory Coast, look, how can we get this? How can we buy in bulk to give to our farmers? Then work with the farmers, they prepare the land, they dig the holes, they do everything. Then you go to Ivory Coast and get the seedlings and get the seeds and get the saplings and bring it and give it to the farmers so that they can plant so we can start producing food for ourselves. This thing is not rocket science. It's just simple. Go to Ivory Coast and say, look, we want to grow an agronomy ourselves. We need you export pineapples. And pineapple, as it grows, it creates the little saplings on the side. You can just pluck them off. Say, how can we get some of these things? They will give it to you by the truckload because they throw those things away. I'll be honest. Okay? So they will give it to you by the truckload. You come and you engage your farmers and you plant and you go back and get different things and you come and give it to your farmers and they plant. But the crux of the matter here is that the government has to get involved in agriculture at the low level. Forget about the ministry where they're just talking about eating money. Go to the farmers and interact with the farmers, see what their needs are, and work with them so that we can start growing food instead of going to Guinea and getting pepper and grumpy, Sierra Leone and getting gari that we eat in Monrovia, okay? Plantain from Ivory Coast, tomatoes from Mali and Ivory Coast. We can do our own in Liberia, but it has to be that government carves the policy to be able to help. And then on the Dillon thing, Dillon should never give any statement to the public that is not completely the truth and nothing but the truth. You owe nobody anything. The people use government money to buy their ticket. You use your private money. If you ride private, you ride business class, is your business. If you use government money to buy a ticket, you should ride economy. That is the truth.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tulay. I can't wait for us to get off here to get ready for a tutorial, a political economic tutorial from Dr. Tipote, one of the folks that Mr. Tulay read about, maybe followed when he was a child. Likewise, myself, in the late 70s when we were running behind Back of Matthews and crying for change, Back of Matthew and his life, they also got their inspiration from Dr. Tipote in the 50s and 60s and early 70s. So this will be a great conversation. As far as the agriculture piece is concerned, I was very, very impressed with this young man who actually learned on the job. He lived with folk when his father got killed, and he lived with the Uris and saw how this thing works. And he decided to replicate the little thing he learned from them. He didn't wait for government. He didn't wait for the bank. He didn't have I know very well, he didn't do no business plan. He didn't do that. He went and he said he scrapped out money for himself, from relatives and friends. And best of all, he has 100 people on his payroll. Mr. Tulay sitting over here, he got none. I'm sitting over here with my big mouth, I got none. This young man who has nothing has 100 people on his payroll. And all he's asking us to do is, if you cannot invest in my business, I have everything your families need on the ground. You need oil, buy it from me. You need cassava, buy it from me. You need cocoa, buy it from me. You need rice, buy it from me. And we're going to provide those numbers. I'm going to get all the information. We're going to publish it. So we can go ahead and buy from him and let our people pick it up and support. We had to buy Liberian business. We had to purchase. We had to support. Support doesn't mean you give them money from your pocket, but buy his produce. What he has on the ground can be consumed. Let's consume what we produce. And the young man number, we're going to publish it, and hopefully we all can patronize him. That's great. As far as the Dillon situation is concerned, I'm going to go back to Tip O'Neill. 1988, when that young man was born, my godfather and tutor, Michael Dukakis, were running for the presidency. And someone asked him a question about Tip O'Neill and the rest of the guys about why was it that Congress approval rating at the time was maybe 8%. But when Tip O'Neill went to Massachusetts from his district, he was 99% approved. So the question was, why are you so popular in your district and so hated in Washington, D.C.? He said, one thing I can tell you is everybody likes their own crooks. Everybody likes their own crooks. This is where we are with the Dillon thing. Dillon lied to the press. Not only did he lie and deceive, and I agree with Rodney Sear, if Dillon had come out and said, this is my own ticket, I don't care where I ride, case would have been closed. But him to have deceptively published a fake itinerary and said, this is my itinerary from Monrovia directly to JFK and back. Why he had the actual itinerary in first class or business class with him was deceptive, it was lying, and it shows the lack of character. Now, according to Mr. CA, they basically gave this man 14 months of free press, free advertisement, supporting him because they felt that one man can make a difference. And for him to come and fall, and he lifted the line, they felt that one man can make a, and he fell the same thing that have befell Liberians from day one. Politicians can make all these promises only to turn out that they were looking for a way into the club. So Dillon is a crook. And those who are supporting him, that are saying what he did was right, they themselves love their own crooks. Until then, Mr. Tulay, thank you very much for your insight. Let us get together behind the scene and see how we can rally support for Mr. Galakpai. I love what he's doing. He's an inspiration, and I think the Ministry of Agriculture has a model. They have someone they can use that can rally around young folks and say, you don't have to sit in Monrovia, you don't have to sit in Buchanan, you can make more money going back and forth making your farm. So we thank you very much for listening. Thank you for your contribution. We didn't have enough time to read your comments. Next Sunday, same place, same time. In the meantime, let's get ready to receive the Godfather, Dr. Tipote, and give him a round of support and love. Thank you very much, and God bless.
We are Liberian. Liberia is our home. Liberian people. Liberia.